What's up guys, No More Op4 here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to build your own target stand. I usually do gear reviews, save you money, tell you what I think are worthy pieces of gear or guns or whatever it may be to spend your money on in order to save you money. Really same principle here, saving money instead of having to buy your own target stand that is one-dimensional. You can build your own target stand for a lot cheaper price that is going to meet a range of different requirements. So, in order to build this, the materials that you're going to need is a piece of board. This is 5.5 by 1 1/8, and I bought 4 feet of that, and then I bought one 8-foot furring strip. What you do from this point, again, depending on, you could use a 2x6 if you want, but this is 5.5 by 1 1/8. Figure out the width of the piece of wood you're using and the length of the board you're going to have. Again, this was a 4-foot piece. I cut it in two, so I have two 2-foot pieces. Measured up halfway up the board and halfway across, and then I took a drill and I drilled here and here down into that center piece. Then I took a power saw and ran that up to each of the holes that I had drilled, and the wood came out, and then I just took a file and cleaned up the inside here a little bit. Then I did the same thing on the other piece of board. What you have then by doing that is, without the use of any tools, a stand. Now it does require a little bit of muscle to get it in there, but very simple to put together. It does take a little bit more effort to get it apart, but still very simple to do. Now the next thing you're going to want to do is to take the furring strip. Now I had a lot of wood laying around, so I had some scrap pieces, but you may need a little bit larger of the board that you're going to use to put on top of the furring strips to make the housing. Basically, you just take 3 pieces of furring strip, the length of the depth of the board. So in this case, 5.5 inches. Lay those next to each other and then figure out how big of a housing piece you're going to need. And once you have that, I just glued these pieces down here, and then I waited for that to dry. Next day I came and used a screw and screwed those in just to make it a little bit sturdier and a little bit tighter fitting. Just be careful that when you use screws, if you do, you really don't even have to, but just for strength I did. Just be careful that you don't use too long of a screw, because if it comes out on this other side, the board might crack. I've seen that happen. You don't want that to happen. So basically what you have then, once you do that, is a housing that will hold the furring strip. Now, if on accident you do make the housing a little bit too tight, you can always just trim a little bit of slack off of the furring strip, and it'll fit nicely. Just be careful when setting it, when you're putting the glue down, that it fits. What I did was I put the pieces down with glue on them, with the furring strip in here, and then when I had it at the right placement, I just pulled the furring strip out, didn't touch it, let it sit overnight. That should work fine for you. When selecting the furring strips, you got to be careful. Furring strips are usually used to put up insulation, so they're really not, they don't need to be perfectly straight. They're not the best quality pieces of wood, but the only part that actually has to be straight is the part that's going to fit in the housing. So, really just in this case, 5.5 inches had to be straight, so you can fit it in the housing. 8-foot furring strip was $2. The plank that I used for the stand itself was under $6. So effectively what I have here is a target stand that was under $8 to build. Looking at a target stand, buying one yourself as opposed to making one, you're looking at spending at least $20, and a lot of times they're going to be cheap and plastic, and they're going to be low to the ground. And oftentimes they're going to be really close. The stand itself is going to be close to where you're mounting the target, so a stray bullet can very easily destroy your whole target depending on how cheaply made it is. With this, you can use the furring strips at any length that you want to set the height of the target that you're going to be shooting at, you know, and it's going to be a lot higher than what the actual stand itself is. And you know, again, 8 foot of furring strip was under $2. If you accidentally shoot the furring strip, it's very easy to replace because they're very cheap. Typical stand, you're looking at, you know, a decent high, when I say high, I mean in height, stand, you're looking at like $25. TriggerHappy.com has one, which I do have one of. They are good stands, but it's $24. I can make 3 of those. I can have 3 stands as opposed to 1. It's cutting your cost down 66%. So again, all about saving you money. Here's a good way to do that. The only other piece that you would need for this, and this will depend on the size of the target you're using, but it's just a piece of cardboard. And you know, you can go to your place of work, probably get shipments in cardboard boxes or whatever it is. That's where I got mine. Just take it home, ask if you can take it or whatever, and cut the pieces you want. You can make the width of the 2 furring strips any distance that you want if you use really large silhouette targets, or if you shoot smaller width targets like IDPA type style targets of cardboard. You can buy those online. They mount right onto here. The furring strip will very easily take a staple from a staple gun. I'm talking about you know, for carpentry, not just a regular staple. But very easy to set up, very cheap. The other cool thing is it stores very nicely, and that's a con to most of the ones you're going to buy, is they're bulky. They don't store very easily. This very small amount of space fits very well. No tools required to set it up wherever you're going to be shooting, and again, the cost is minimal. Going to be working on another project here. I'm almost finished. I'll show you that coming up soon, how to build your own resetting target. But this was how to build your own target stand. If you guys have any questions with specifics or details, or if you're having problems with any of the steps, send me a PM, put a comment down, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. This is No More OPFOR, guys. I hope this video helped.